Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the Forces of Angmar in the Middle-earth strategy battle game, focusing around the forces from the Rise of Angmar sourcebook. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest of the Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modiphius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. And so the first model we're going to look to start our force with is the Shadow of Ruador. Now this model is a spirit infantry hero, and it is a hero of fortitude, meaning in his warband is able to take up to 12 different followers. The model itself is pretty decent for a spirit with 5 value 5 and a nice defense of 7 there, something high defense as you expect with spirits. You've also got 2 attacks, 2 wounds and a courage of 6. For your points of might, you've got 2 of them, 5 will to be spending on magical powers and 2 fate as well. The model comes armed with armor and a sword. This will be the only upgrades you've got on it equipment wise, but you do have a special rule called Blades of the Dead. What this special rule allows you to do is when you're attacking an enemy, you can target their courage instead of their defense value. Good if you're fighting a low courage opponents. Its own special Herald of Doom passive ability means at the start of the game you can select a hero model in your opponent's force, and whilst the Shadow of Ruador is within 6 inches of that selected hero, they're -1 to both their courage and any fate rolls they make. Now what's better as well is the Power of Angmar active ability. This makes you a really solid caster, because if the Shadow of Ruador rolls a natural 6 when making a casting roll, the channeled version of the magical power will be used if it's not resisted. On those magical power wise, you do have a bunch of magical powers like Drain Courage, Curse, Wither and Sap Will that allow you to debilitate your opponent's characters and fighters around the table. Joining the Shadow of Ruador is Natstak, the Orc Captain, the other sort of named hero we got for Angmar from this particular sourcebook. Natstak is really interesting. He's a hero of fortitude and an orc, as you would guess by being Orc Captain. He does have defense 5, which is nice thanks to his armor, and he's wielding a dagger. But what makes this fighter really unique is the fun game you can play across the table called Scavenge. Whenever Natstak kills an enemy model in combat, with the exception of monsters, he can choose to scavenge a piece of war gear. With the exception of he can't scavenge any mounts, any type of armor, living creatures, the One Ring, or items of war gear that are integral to the model, such as say the teeth and claws of something. This will happen before the effects that allow the slain model to pass on their piece of war gear as well. Now, you add the scavenged item to Natstak's list of war gear. Natstak will benefit from the scavenged war gear as if he had been the original model, and he can choose to discard a piece of war gear if he wants at any time, though it is permanently lost if he does so. He's a fun little character that has a bunch to offer in that aspect for just a little fun minigame. He's slightly better orc. I mean, he's got courage 3, so it's going to be better than your average Angmar orc of 2. The defense 5 is nice, 5 value 4, nothing to write home about, but solid enough, especially for his points cost. Next we start looking at our infantry and our followers for our 2 fighters, our heroes, and the first of these are going to be the Angmar Orc Warriors. These are really cheap fighters at 5 points each and can take a variety of different upgrades from orc bows, shields, spears, 2-handed weapons, and one model can even take a banner as well, which is nice. They're only 5 value 3 with a 5+ shoot value as well. Defense 4 though, thanks to their armor, is nice, and they do have the option of taking swords or picks as their weapon for different types of special attacks. Now, other than that, there's not really too much to write home about orcs. They're going to fulfill a large quantity of the models in your force, just give you the numbers to overtake and overwhelm your opponents. Next for the followers we have the new Werewolves. Now these are a spirit model from Angmar infantry as well, and they're equipped with claws and teeth. They've got a solid movement of 10 with a 5 value of 5 as well, which is really nice. Strength 5, defense 4 with 2 attacks each is also another bunch of decent stats with 2 wounds and a courage of 5 as well. They've got the Fell Sight special rule. This is going to be incredibly important with that big movement, meaning they don't actually need line of sight to be able to charge an enemy, and the Stalk Unseen rule actually doesn't stop them from charging an enemy either. They cause terror, meaning enemies will struggle to stay in combat with them or even just around them, and the Feral Charge ability means whenever a werewolf charges an infantry, it gets the knock to the ground bonus as if it were cavalry, so long as a cavalry model doesn't then charge into it after this. Lastly, we have the Dead Marsh Spectre. Now, I think these are a really great piece for an Angmar force. First of all, you've got a 6-inch move, defense 5, a 1 wound, 1 attack, courage 6 model with heavy armor and a sword. They've got a Blades of the Dead rule, meaning they can attack into an opponent's courage, which is pretty decent considering they do only have a fight value of 2, and the Terror rule as well. But what is great is a Fell Light is in them ability. This is an active ability that at any point during its move you can target a single enemy model within 12 inches line of sight and essentially move that model as if it were your own. Now you can't make that model jump off cliffs or anything that would harm it, but you can sort of draw it out of your opponent's lines, push it back away from your models, put it into a position that's not advantageous, like particularly picking a banner and moving it away from your opponent's troops, moving it so you're not going to make in the way rolls, or your bows have got direct shots at it later in the game. It can be a really fun ability to sort of play around with and sort of torment your opponent in what you're making their models do. Now, for our list today, we're obviously playing with Angmar, and our army bonus for Angmar is called If That Fell Kingdom Should Rise Again, Rivendell, Lorien, the Shire, even Gondor shall fall. What this does is friendly Angmar Orc models within 3 inch of a friendly Spirit Hero model will gain the Terror special rule. So this means any of our Orcs that are around the Shadow of Rhuidear will gain Terror. Our first warband is going to have a Hero of Fortitude leading it, which will be the Shadow of Rhuidear. This is going to be our force's leader overall as well. For followers, we've then got a single Angmar Orc Warrior with Banner, 2 Angmar Orc Warriors with Hand Weapon and Shield, an Angmar Orc Warrior with Spear, an Angmar Orc Warrior with 2-handed weapon, a Dead Marsh Spectre, and a Werewolf as well. For our second warband, we then have another Hero of Fortitude leading this one, which will be Natstak the Orc Captain. His followers are pretty simple, 2 Angmar Orc Warriors with hand weapons and shields, and 2 Angmar Orc Warriors with bows to give us a little bit of shooting in the force. We hope this video was helpful in getting you started with the Middle-earth strategy battle game, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all of our future Middle-earth strategy battle game content